I want to talk to you about how to open a McDonald's franchise this year. Okay, so basically, I have five parts in this process, and so part one is actually getting started. Part two is actually establishing a McDonald's restaurant. Part three rather, is actually about opening your restaurants, like the practical aspects of the opening process. And part four, you have to remain aware of trendings in the let's say restaurant industry overall. And last thing you want to really do is keeping tabs of financial inflows and outflows. So in terms of part one, getting started, you want to read the McDonald's franchise disclosure document. Okay, before you actually think about opening a McDonald's franchise, closely look over a copy of their franchise disclosure document. This is actually a 375 page document that really provides an extensive overview of the rights and responsibilities of a McDonald's franchise owner. Okay, so this document actually explains the basics of cost, location, training, operations, and the ongoing fees involved in opening a McDonald's franchise. The document contains a lot of legal and business terms. So if you don't have, let's say, an extensive background in law or business, you may want to hire a business or a corporate lawyer to really help you to decipher their FDD. So that's number one. Number two, you have to be prepared for a lot of expenses. So opening a McDonald's franchise can be costly, and you will need to put down a lot of money up front. You need to have a great deal of money saved up to open a McDonald's franchise. You may have to wait a few years and save before applying for a franchise. So, at a minimum, you need a minimum $750,000 in personal funds upfront. The money has to be yours and cannot come in the form of a loan or credit. And so, if you are actually purchasing an existing restaurant, you must have 25% of the down payment towards the total cost, and this must be paid upfront. For a new restaurant, you must be able to pay 40% upfront. So pre-opening costs for equipment and other supplies usually run somewhere between $1 million to $2 million. So the good news is that for this kinds of costs, you can apply for a bank loan. That's totally fine. So as a franchise, you'll be charged a service fee of 4% of total sales. Also, 45,000 of your initial franchise fee must be paid actually to McDonald's. So generally, they will buy whatever the franchise requirements are. So they may want a certain amount of cash from the franchise buyer. For example, some percent of it may have to be cash from the buyer, and the rest can be financed. Next, you want to learn the conditions of operating a McDonald's. So if you're thinking about being a McDonald's franchisee, you want to learn the conditions of opening a restaurant. So as a franchise owner, you have some freedom in regard to how you operate and also the hiring process. However, you must adhere to certain rules of the McDonald's Corporation because you are basically representing an international chain, right? So this is important. So McDonald's as particular independent suppliers who you will learn about in training require you to purchase food, packaging, equipment, and other supplies. You cannot therefore switch up the kinds of napkins or ketchup packets you use, as unity and conformity are important in building a chain. So that's important. And basically, the dollar menu is a hot button item for franchise owners, as many find themselves losing money due to the heavily marked down prices. Unfortunately, you cannot get rid of or even alter the dollar menu during your time as a franchise owner. So number four, you want to really undergo the application process. So once you have your funds in order, you can apply to be a franchise owner. In order to have your application accepted, you must have experience in entrepreneurial business, have excellent credit, and have adequate funding. So they will check your FICO score just to make sure that you are actually legit, quote unquote legit. So you will start the application process by filling out an online application, and the application will ask for basic information like your name, address, phone number, date of birth, and an email address. It will also ask you whether you have been convicted of any crimes other than minor traffic violations, and if so, the details of those crimes. It will ask you basic questions about your credit history, financial situation, and also your educational background. And after your initial application is accepted, there will be a phone interview and a round of personality and ability testing. You will fill out a personality questionnaire as well as take some ability tests to make sure you know the basics of operating a large business. And once the phone interview and testing are complete, you will actually spend a few days working in the McDonald's restaurants while being observed. Okay. At the end, you will undergo a panel interview to see what you have learned. You also meet with existing franchisees to ask questions about opening actually a McDonald's. So if you pass all those parts, especially when it comes to the application, you'll be invited for a one-on-one interview in the McDonald's headquarters near you. After this interview, the McDonald's Corporation will make a final decision on whether or not to proceed with your application and allow you to actually open a franchise. Let me talk to you about the part two. So part one, getting started. Part two, establishing the McDonald's restaurant. Okay, so what you want here, you have to undergo the corporate training process. So before you can open your restaurants, McDonald's require you that you undergo a training process to run actually their corporation. So you will undergo 9 to 18 months of training at a McDonald's restaurant near your home. You will learn everything from hands-on skills to the basics of operating a business. Any operating knowledge specific to the McDonald's Corporation will also be taught during this time. Now, there are also a number of, let's say, seminars, conferences, and one-on-one training sessions you'll be required to attend as you begin creating your own McDonald's restaurant. And such opportunities will not only provide you with valuable information about, let's say, operating a McDonald's, those opportunities also allow you to network with other professionals in the field, so other franchisees, if you will. So now, operating training classes, which come in the form of 2 advanced 5-day courses, must be completed to finish your franchise training. So courses are taught actually in Oak Brook, Illinois. So be prepared to travel if you don't live close by. So the second thing you have to do is you have to actually hire professionals. So as you begin your franchise, as you begin to open your franchise, you'll need to hire a number of professionals to help with constructions, legal issues, and business operations. You gotta hire a franchise consultant and a franchise lawyer from the beginning, as large sums of money will be exchanged in the process of opening a franchise. You want to make sure that you have a legal professional overseeing, let's say, any transactions. You should make sure your lawyer has specific experience with franchises and not just a general business lawyer. You also need to hire a reputable construction crew, especially if you are building a new location instead of purchasing an existing location. So you have to learn about location requirements. So you have 2 options when opening a McDonald's franchise. You can either buy an existing restaurant or opening a new location. So buying an existing location is recommended if possible. The down payment required for purchasing an existing location is 15% less than it is for buying a new restaurant, and there will be few costs associated with the renovations and repairs. Okay, and this is something to really think about. But if it's not always possible to buy an existing site. There may not be a McDonald's near you, or existing sites may not be for sale. So think about that too. Part 3, you want to let's talk about opening your restaurants. So get the basics set up. So in terms of basics, I'm speaking here about having all supplies ready to go. You need to buy food supplies from the McDonald's restaurant. You need to figure out how to deal with waste management and set your hours. So in order to buy and sell food, you got to apply for the proper permits in your city. Such permits vary from district to district, so make sure you visit the Department of Health website in your town to find out the rules and regulations. And they should be able to tell you also how to really handle trash disposal. You may need to provide your own private dumpster for restaurant-related trash, or you may have access to a community dumpster for restaurants in the area. This depends actually on your location and the regulations of your city. So the McDonald's Corporation will mail you the food supplies you need from your restaurant, and you will learn the process for placing orders as well as basic costs during your training. Setting your hours can be complicated, so most cities have regulations as to how early or late businesses can operate by district. So you may be in a 24-hour zone, but operating 24 hours can be risky as there is added cost of labor, utilities, and all that's needed to keep a restaurant actually running. So to determine your hours, you should actually see what sort of establishments are in your area and what their hours look like. So that's the first thing. Get the basic setup. Number two, you want to hire employees, okay? Now, basically, the McDonald's Corporation has a specific applications they require for the hiring process. You can download and print applications for various positions online, or you can even order bundles. It may be difficult to select applicants to interview and hire, especially if you are opening in an area where you can expect to get a lot of applications. So you may have to make difficult choices about, let's say, hiring, and you may often have to choose between two equally qualified candidates. So if you are nervous about hiring and do not have previous experience conducting interviews, try talking to other franchise owners that you met during your training. They can offer you advice and insights on the hiring process. So if you are thinking about actually establishing a McDonald's restaurant, you want to try a soft opening first. So after you undergo you get the basic setup, hire employees, try a soft opening. So oftentimes during like if you have to do a soft opening, you are really mitigating the risk, because basically doing a soft opening with special promotions and deals can help you get started. So this will draw in actually customers and generate early interest and excitement before your official opening. So we're speaking here about creating buzz, right? And so you should announce a soft opening, let's say a month or a few weeks before you will officially open your franchise. You want to advertise the opening and flyers you have around town, or even on local radio stations or in local newspapers. As a matter of fact, you can also do a social media. By the way, it works fantastically. You can have Facebook or Instagram or have you. It really depends. So you want to offer one-time specials and deals to entice people to come. For example, you could offer buy one get one half for entrees, or allow children under 12 to eat free, right? Because the whole thing is you want to draw some traffic, foot traffic. You want to promote positive public relations during your soft opening, making sure your staff is polite with guests. Advertise when your franchise will actually open. Have flyers in the store with the date of your official opening listed. You also want to prepare for ongoing fees. So there are ongoing fees associated with opening a McDonald's franchise. So once you get your franchise going, you'll still have to pay some dues to the McDonald's Corporation. There is a monthly service fee based on your restaurant's sale performance. It's usually about 4% of total sales. That's what I said a little earlier. And also, you will also have to pay monthly rent on your building. Cost of rent actually depends on the size and location of your franchise. So the fourth part here is to remain aware. So let me explain what I really mean here. So basically, the application process focuses on financial readiness and customer service. That's really important. Okay, I spoke to you a little earlier about how much you usually need to have, like close to a 1 million in financial liquidity, if you will. So one thing I want to say here is that you need to understand that once you actually pass the financial readiness process, you have to really undergo the training program. Okay, so I'm speaking here about going through the training program from top to bottom, and understand that this is a lengthy process in the sense that you might have to commit 12 to 18 months. And also buying a restaurant might involve a change of scenery. So this is one of those things where you have to really understand that it's not just about opening a franchise, a McDonald's franchise. It's about really looking at the scenery, okay? And so overall, it's important to understand that you might need to either move or commute once you actually get the chance to purchase the store. In many cases, having the means to purchase multiple McDonald's simultaneously can increase the opportunities for new franchisees, because the owners who are selling are often looking to sell more than one location. Okay. Now, in terms of the cost, I think I've said this to you before. You are basically talking about anywhere from 1 million to a $2.5 million. Okay, and also you have to pay a 45,000 fee to the franchisor. So 45,000, that's the franchise fee. But you gotta have a minimum of a 3/4 of a million, like in liquid cash, and also commit like 1 million to 2.5 million for constructions and other stuff. Okay, so one thing for sure, you need to understand that there are more than 13,000 McDonald's restaurants in the United States, and at least 90% of those businesses are owned and operated by franchisees. Okay, so buying a McDonald's franchise takes a sizable investment because of the whole process, and so the corporation requires you to be liquid. So this is something to really think about before you jump in. Next, I want to talk to you about the fifth part, keeping tabs. So basically, when you think about McDonald's restaurants at a glance, you are speaking about 13,000 to 22,000. So required investor net worth, 500,000 to 3/4 of a million. The minimum investments, 1.5 to 2.5 million. Okay, so basically the standard franchise term is 10 years. So this is something to really think about. Okay, and the franchise fee is always 45 grand. Okay, don't forget the royalty fee of 4% of gross revenue every month. And you also have brand marketing and loyal and promotional fee. That's 4%. So that's actually 8%. And you also have location rent. So unlike most other franchises, McDonald's owns the land and buildings at its locations, and franchisees pay rent that can be based on a percentage of sales or as a fixed amount. So percentage rents are 31.75% of sales, and fixed rent are typically 100,000 to 225,000 per month. Okay, per month. So just be aware of that. This could be consequential, and but overall, McDonald's franchises are profitable. Okay, median annual sales of a McDonald's location in like last year were about $3 to $3.0 million, delivering an average profit margin of 10% and an estimated annual profit of $300,000 per location. So with the typical investments of let's say $2 million, it will take a franchise 8 to 10 years to recover their investments. Okay, the franchisee. So this is something to really think about. Okay, and the failure rate of a McDonald's franchise is about 5 to 10%. So just be aware of that. So I mean, it really depends. I mean, you can go from 1% to 10%, with 1% being in a very let's say crowded market like New York or LA, and 10% in a very like in a less populated area. Okay, so think about in terms of support. McDonald's actually offers franchise resources such as training, marketing support, third-party financing, and also technology and innovation. Okay, so you are able to access their proprietary software, and as a franchisee, you must purchase all items for when it comes to computer system and any computer upgrades through McDonald's. But they do have the technology in place, so that's pretty good. So, in conclusion to this conversation, I spoke to you about McDonald's franchise. I give you 5 parts when it comes to the process. So, part one, getting started. Part two, establishing a McDonald's restaurant. Part three, opening your restaurant. Part four, remaining aware. And part five, keeping tabs. Thank you so much. God bless you. I'll see you next time. Until then, remember, stay marvelous.